man, what you looking at, homie? And he was like, man, I'm from Chicago. We look niggas in the eye.
Used to love him mad because we yeah. No common sense. Hip-hop started in the West. Ice Cube belling through the East without a vest. Yeah, he was wrong with that.
When the East Coast-West Coast War is mentioned, legendary names like Tupac and Biggie Smalls dominate the conversation. However, few realize that the conflict wasn't driven by these iconic rappers alone. There was another mini-war happening in the background, and it was significantly influenced by two of our generation's most talented actors, who were once blazing MCs. Their rivalry was so intense that it nearly escalated to fatal consequences, marking a dramatic chapter in the saga of this infamous clash of cultures. This is the story of what really happened between Common and Ice Cube.
With no common sense. Hip-hop started in the West. Ice Cube belling through the East without a vest.
Before the beef. If you've been following hip-hop for a long time, then you would know that if there is any MC who is guaranteed a spot on the Mount Rushmore of conscious rap, it's gotta be Common. And if there is an MC that no doubt has a spot as one of the most gangsta rappers ever, then we have Ice Cube. Both rappers couldn't be more different from each other. But how did these two legends ever get into a beef with each other? It all dates back to the early 90s. Former NWA rapper Ice Cube was one of the biggest rap stars in the game. Cube, who was only 2 years older, had hit stardom long before Common ever did. In fact, Common and his rap group CDR used to open for NWA. The rapper's lyrics on Straight Outta Compton helped shape West Coast hip-hop's early identity and distinguish it from East Coast rap. Cube was as controversial as it gets. After all, this is the man who released No Vaseline. Common was on the same path too. The Chicago rapper got his start in the era of gangsta rap, and his debut album, Can I Borrow $1, was straight fire. According to Common, it was bros before hoes, stuff you're repeating from your homies when you're not really thinking for yourself yet. Unfortunately for him, the album wasn't a commercial success, and it didn't take long for him to find a higher calling in conscious rap. Just 2 years after his first album failed commercially, he came back with Resurrection, the album that not only addressed Common's new style of rap, but the state of hip-hop music at the time. And in 1994, it couldn't have dropped at a better time for the MC. The album undoubtedly rebranded the rapper, and his following began to spread beyond his hometown. The 1994 freshman class of hip-hop had classic debut albums from Nas, The Notorious B.I.G., Outkast, and Method Man. And with the bar set high, Common made sure to redeem himself with Resurrection. In 1994, gangsta rap was starting to truly define the genre. It was the year that Tupac got robbed and shot 5 times at Quad Studios in Manhattan. Common at the time strongly believed rap music was becoming unrecognizable and turning too gangsta. So he let the world know. I Used to Love Her. I Used to Love Her, the lead single off Common's sophomore album, is highly regarded as one of his best-known songs and one of the greatest hip-hop recordings ever. Her, H.E.R, was an acronym for Hip-Hop in its essence is real. And this song, which was the lead single off his album, was a skillfully constructed metaphor about a girl that Common fell in love with, who by the end of the song is revealed to be the personification of hip-hop music itself. In simple terms, the entire song just addressed how the once pure hip-hop transformed into the more sensationalized, negatively tinged gangster rap. Common rapped,
Then she broke to the West Coast, and now it's cool, cause around the same time, I went away to school and I'm a man dove expanded. So why should I stand in her way? She probably get her money in LA.
And
talking about popping Glocks, serving rocks and hitting switches. Now she's a gangster rolling with gangster always smoking blunts and getting drunk, telling me sad stories. Now she only with the funk.
gangster rap seemed like the only way to get ahead, and Eazy-E, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, and other West Coast artists dominated the 80s and 90s with the violent, gang-inspired songs like The Police, 6 in the Morning, and Straight Outta Compton. Obviously, hoods like Compton were bad, but at the time, several other rappers were starting to rap only about their hoods and how hard they grew up, but for some, they actually grew up in middle-class suburbs. Rap music at the time was now all about image and less about the art or the substance, and that was all Common hoped to address, but he seemed to hit some nerves in the West Coast. Even though he never mentioned any name or group directly, Cube took it to heart, and it set off one of the most vicious rap beefs in rap music history.
I Used to Love It in 1994. You know, it was a story that I could tell about the evolution of hip-hop and the stages that I seen hip-hop go from just the pure innocent to the, along with raw and just being freestyle, like to the pro-black, from pro-black, and then going to the West Coast, which I said was good.
It's the jazz, now black music is black music, and it's all good. I wasn't salty, she was with the boys in the hood.
I wasn't salty, she was with the boys in the hood.
He talking about this girl that he was in love with. You know, she's supposed to be hip-hop, and he's so in love with her, but when she go out here, she get fucked up.
The beef. Exactly a year and 1 day after I Used to Love Her, Ice Cube responded on Mac 10's West Side Slaughterhouse. In fact, the whole group, West Side Connection, took turns dissing Common.
Me, Cube, and WC, you know, got together in the studio one day, and everybody just wrote their verses right there. Used to love her mad because we with no common sense. Hip hop started in the West. Ice Cube belling through the East without a vest. Yeah, he was wrong with that mother.
With no common sense. Hip hop started in the West. Ice Cube belling through the East without a vest.
Yeah, Chicago is mine. He told Common his hood was his hood. West Side Slaughterhouse was so raw, man. I seen that shit the other day, Holmes. That was one of the best rap videos ever.
And with these bars, Cube sparked a war, one that Common didn't even plan to be part of.
One day I'm sitting about to do a show. I'm in the car with my homie Rasan and King T. King T from the West.
Yes,
and somebody said, yo, Cube dissed you on this song. So we playing the song, and I'm listening. I'm like, damn, this nigga dissing me. And King T was like, nah, he ain't dissing you. He ain't dissing you. I'm like, this nigga dissing me.
And was it West Side Connection though, right?
It was on the West Side Connection record. Cube was like,
right.
First of all, I was like, King T, how you gonna not say this is a diss? He said, all you want to diss the Pacific, but you never get specific. I used to love her, mad because we put with no common sense. That was direct. So, I mean, my first reaction was like, damn, Ice Cube know who I am.
Common initially didn't want to get into any beef with Ice Cube. He used to idolize the West Coast MC. However, Cube kept going at him on BET, so he had to respond.
I only decided to do the diss record when I saw them on BET and they were like talking to Big Les and they was like, yeah, Common, you know, and I was like, man, they keep going at me and I'm not like, I ain't no punk now. Like, I mean, I know I'm about love, but I ain't no punk. So I remember sitting down in my room. I mean, I had an apartment. I had this basement apartment. I had just bought a building, and I set up a basement apartment. I used to have my records. KRS put out these instrumentals, and I put on this KRS instrumental, and man, I just wrote the you, and I wrote the first verse, and I was like, man, I'm about to, you know, I'm going at it, and I was out there rapping that verse. I would be out with De La Soul, and we would stop the show, and I would rap that verse, and I did it at the House of Blues in LA, and the crowd was giving me love. I was like ready. I didn't know what was gonna go down, but at a certain point, I just got stirred up and got caught up in it, and I was like, whatever happened is gonna happen. But so I did that, and that's what made me write a second verse to it. Then I was trying to find a producer to create, you know, the song with, and No ID didn't really want to do it. I don't think because he's in the Nation of Islam. He kind of was like, and Premier definitely wasn't gonna do it. I was trying to get to Premier, but I ended up Pete Rock said yeah, he'll do it. We went to his basement. Me and Black Thought. We went to Pete Rock's basement. He hooked up that beat, and I was like, yo.
Common responded with the You. The first time Common performed the full track was down in Atlanta at a music festival where Ice Cube and his crew were also on the bill. A lot of people would agree that Common's response was dope, but aside from just being a good track, it was the first time someone made Cube look like a chump. Behind the scenes, both Common and Cube traded words, and their crews weren't any different. During their beef, a lot of big names got pulled into it, and many had to choose sides.
I remember around the Death Row things when the East Coast, West Coast was heating up.
I think Common and Cube was going through their beef, like they was dissing each other. And I remember Pop was like, "See, man, if I was cool with Cube right now, I'll be going at Common for him. But now I'm staying out of it."
A few big names like Pac, Fat Joe, and No ID stayed out of the beef. However, many got roped in. One name in particular was Pete Rock. Ice Cube hated him for laying the track for The Big You, and surprisingly, he was the one who encouraged Common to respond to Cube. Fast forward to 1997, when the two MCs were going at each other's throats. Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam had to intervene. After the murders of Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G. in 1996 and 1997, it was very obvious that rappers were taking their beef to the streets, and the reality of it was Common and Ice Cube could have been next to end up in a deadly feud. As a result, just less than 30 days after Biggie's death, Minister Farrakhan organized a peace summit for several rappers who were going through altercations with their peers. The beef was already getting deeper than music, but both Common and Cube were cool with the minister, so they honored the invitation. Other rappers who attended the peace summit were Snoop Dogg, The Dogg Pound, Bone Thugs and Harmony, Channel Live, Nate Dogg, Mac 10, WC, Too Short, Fat Joe, and Chuck D. At the end of the meeting, both rappers squashed their beef, and the highlight was when Cube got up and hugged Common. But even though the rappers hugged it out, their crews still had some feelings, and it almost got Common killed.
Fat Joe
saved my life.
What do you mean?
Bro.
How so?
So after the beef with Ice Cube and Mac 10, the beef we had, we got settled by Minister Farrakhan, right?
Whole meeting. You can go look it up. It's out there. Matter of fact, I tell Cube all the time, Common got you. That bitch was tough.
Yeah, Cube my guy, but you know.
Y'all cleaned up, but that was, listen.
I had to go for mine.
All right, let's focus. Let's focus.
Yo, that bitch. Yo, if y'all never heard Common going at Cube and you, listen.
Hey.
He don't even like to talk about it. It's uncomfortable.
So listen, we doing this commercial, a Sprite commercial. It's like a Voltron commercial where they taking artists from each region. Like Fat Joe was representing the East, Goody Mob was representing the South, I was representing the Midwest, and Mac 10 and was representing the West Coast. Now, beef been squashed. Everything is good. Like, I'm about to make, talking about the most money I'm about to make, at this point, the most money I ever made in it. So I'm out there by myself in LA. One of my homies guys is out there staying at the same hotel, so I tell him to come to the commercial. He cool. He's one of my guys. He good. So we go to the commercial, and he started basically staring down Mac 10. Just giving the grilling him. And then he said Mac 10 and them was like, "Man, what you looking at, homie?" And he was like, "Man, I'm from Chicago. We looking in their eye." And then, man, from that point, I know Mac 10, homie, went and got they thing, got that thing, and was like, "Yo." So I told my homie, Fat Joe came to me and was like, "Yo, Ross," because my guy did a little more too after that, just agitating the situation. So I'm like, Fat Joe said, "Ross, man, yo, your man gotta go. He gotta leave. He can't stay. I'm
this
telling
money
you
being
right
made,
now,
this corporate, this is
and these cats is about to get
and
real
y'all
out
in
here.
LA.
You in LA? I'm by my. It's two of us and he like, yo, he gotta go because I'm letting you know. You just looked me in my. It was like some real gangster Fat Joe. He gotta go. Some mob. He gotta go. So then he left, but my man came back and busted some windows.
This dude is wild.
So then I'm like, "Oh, bro, why you do that?" So then they like, "Ross, we gonna have to get your man. We gonna have to get your man." And they roughed him up a little, but it wasn't nothing. And I mean, it wasn't nothing too bad. Everybody's security got me. And Joe later pulled me to the side. And then later when I talked to him in the interview, he's like, "Ross, they was ready to get you. They was ready to get you for real." I was like, "Man," and he said I had to talk to them. I had to sit down and say, because them was his guys. He was cool with Mac 10 and them. He's like, "Man, y'all ain't touching him." Blah, blah, blah. So he essentially, because I was in LA.
Yeah, he was out there dolo.
Dolo, bro.
Could have went down.
The aftermath. For what it's worth, it's been decades since Common and Ice Cube squashed their beef. Both rappers have gone on to have amazing careers in music and film. They even went on to appear on Barbershop 3 together. And while some beef never truly gets squashed, Ice Cube has since addressed the situation, claiming it was truly squashed. Sometimes you have a beef with somebody and you squash it, but it's not really squashed. It's still that thing in the back of your head saying, man, f that. It wasn't that way with Common and myself. It was truly squashed. The rapper explained that it was a dark moment in his career.
And we did. And it was genuine. It was true. I walked away, feeling like I had more to say about the beef, but I wasn't going to say nothing else. Mm-hmm. And I saw Common, run into him periodically after that, and I didn't feel no animosity. Mm-hmm. It was genuine love. We was genuinely happy to be past that point. Mm-hmm. And, I was like, yo, when it was time to figure out who, we was needing these different characters for Barbershop. We knew we wasn't going to get Michael Ealy back. Mm-hmm. And we was looking for a guy who was, could be that, right. and bring a different presence. And when his name came up, I was like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Because
he's a Chicago dude too?
Chicago dude. Yeah. Good dude.
Mm-hmm.
He fought the culture. He's done proved it over and over and over. Right. He not into beefing with nobody. And we need to show the world that no matter what happened in the past, that we can still work together and be brothers. Mm-hmm. And I don't even think about that beef. You know what I mean? Right. It's kind of like a dark moment right. in my career. Because Common is a good dude.
Right.
I don't think he deserved it. It was just a misunderstanding.
Their beef will remain a stamp in hip-hop culture, but the growth of both rappers is something that is amazing to see. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. We had a blast digging deeper into the story, but we want to know your take on it. Who do you think won with the diss tracks? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to check out these other great stories. Help us out by liking and sharing, and subscribe to the channel for more content every week. Thanks for hanging out till the end, and like always, we'll see you in the next one.